Welcome to another chapter of urban exploration of Denver RTD. Today we're doing the 13. And if you watch enough of these videos on these channels, if you know if I'm holding this card up, you know that this route no longer is in existence. But as promised, we do every number. And this was more important than most because it's a story of a little bit of tragedy and definitely a history lesson. So, where are we? Well, we're going to start at the outer edge of this run, which is Virginia Vale, which is located in the area near Monaco and Leetsdale. And I'm quite sure what you're looking right behind me here is the actual terminal stand for the 13 when it ran. So what's here? This is one of the older shopping malls in the area, and anchored by the King Soopers. There's also several fast food places and quite a number of businesses up on Leetsdale, which is about that tree line or so up there. There are two primary bus lines in this area currently. There's the 65, which is the Monaco line, and the Leetsdale bus, which is the 83. Of course, you can always get food and King Soopers, and there's a bathroom in there, and if you're buying stuff, of course, there's things here. Leetsdale is just a really older corridor of Denver for shopping. We are in the southeast of Denver, but just barely. We're kind of southeast of the Cherry Creek Mall area. Since this bus route hasn't run since the 90s, well, there's nothing left of the terminal area. It's all been remarked as parking. And as we go along, well, I'll tell you the story of why this route absolutely needed to be cut, and get a little bit of the changing times of Denver. There goes the 65 headed southbound. Now, the way these buses would get into the terminal area to end here, they would be coming northbound on Monaco, and then they would make a right onto Kentucky, a right onto Tennessee, and then a left, and then another left to get onto Kentucky to where the terminal is. Now we're heading now south on Monaco, passing Tennessee. This route last ran in the 1990s, before all of the RTD light rail lines opened. But this one was doomed for a very long time. We're coming up to Cherry Creek Park and linear pathway, bikeway here. It was a relatively short route. It's only about several miles in length in total. Generally, it was an east-west route mostly based on Florida Avenue, which this is where we turn in to the west here onto Florida. Florida to the east is interrupted by the actual Cherry Creek. So as you can see, it's mostly single-family houses in here. That's really never good for a bus line to be, because they are probably some of the least drivers of passengers per land use. Far. I mean, it went between essentially Broadway and Monaco, which isn't exactly the two. Well, getting further east you went, the least it really became essential. Crossing Holly, which there is a small shopping center here. They're much more important bus routes, either about a mile north or a mile south running east-west, which is much better service. So why have a bus route here in the first place? Well, the answer is actually on the western end, which is Broadway, where the Gates Tire and Rubber Factory was located. And that was a major driver of employment, factory work, well paying, and it was a huge complex. So essentially this was the commuter bus for the factory. A lot of the workers would live back here. Either the skilled tradesmen or the lower management. It was somewhere in the 80s and the 90s that Gates Tire and Rubber Factory closed for good. So all of a sudden there really wasn't any more need for this route. Crossing Colorado. So there really wasn't, the single family housing just did not really drive additional passengers towards the bus service. So essentially you were running a service that had no people riding it. Hence it was cut. Left on Steel and south past a school. The one nice thing I have to say, at least this one was well documented on its route, so I can definitely show you where it went. Become St. Paul for a little bit. Now we turn right on Butchell Boulevard. This was originally a freight line to my right, now is a linear park. Solidly middle class in here, with lots and lots of single family housing. Now crossing University, still headed west. And we are entering the north end of Denver University. And to my right is the turnout for the University Light Rail Station. Literally to my right is I-25. Turn left onto Downing. And about that quick, we turn back to the west onto Iowa. We're now passing the South Pearl Shopping District, which we just showed you on the 12 line. On my right, as we cross Logan, you'll see another small community park. Just like that, we're at Broadway in Iowa, in the end of this line. If you could just imagine 40 years ago, you would have seen this huge factory industrial complex here, but that's all gone now. There would have been a major gate here going into the Gates Tire and Rubber Factory. So this is why it would turn around here. It'd also be the main embarkation point for this bus line, because I can tell you most of the traffic was going to or from the factory. So we'll leave you a shot of South Broadway here. Somewhere in here would have been the turnaround. Don't know quite where. This has been Danusa for the Line 13. Thank you for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe. Any other comments? Just like I said, let me know. I'll try to answer them best as I can. And now we're headed off to do the 14. Have a great afternoon.